Hey everyone, Walters here, ready to delve into a topic near and dear to my heart. Well, not really my heart because that would require empathy, something I often struggle with. But today, we're talking about why you should embrace empathy, that magical ability to actually understand and share the feelings of others. Think of it like telepathy, but instead of reading minds, you're feeling emotions. Empathy isn't just some hippy-dippy concept reserved for after-school specials. It's a superpower that can transform your life and the lives of those around you. So grab your snacks, settle in, and get ready for a crash course in all things empathy. First up, let's address the elephant in the room. Why should we even care about empathy? Is it just about being a nice person? Well, yeah, but it goes way beyond basic human decency. Empathy is the secret sauce to building meaningful relationships, both personally and professionally. Think about it. When you can understand and respond to someone's emotions, you create a connection that runs deeper than surface-level interactions. And who wouldn't want that? Whether you're dealing with your significant other, your boss, or that barista who consistently spells your name wrong, empathy can help you navigate those interactions with grace and understanding. Studies have shown that practicing empathy can reduce stress, boost your immune system, and even make you more resilient in the face of challenges. Just like you wouldn't expect to run a marathon without training, you can't expect to become an empathy guru overnight. Alright, let's bring this empathy thing down to earth with a scenario we can all relate to: the grocery store. Picture this. You're in line, patiently waiting your turn, when suddenly, a wild Karen appears. She's armed with a coupon that expired in 2002 and a bone to pick with the cashier over the price of her kale. Now your initial reaction might be to roll your eyes and think, "Lady, get a grip." But hold on a sec. What if instead of judging Karen for her outburst, we try to understand what might be going on beneath the surface? Maybe she's having a terrible day, dealing with a sick relative, or just really loves discounted kale. And by tapping into a little empathy, we can choose to react with compassion instead of annoyance. Remember, empathy isn't about condoning bad behavior, it's about recognizing that everyone is fighting their own battles. Next up, let's tackle another common breeding ground for empathy deficiencies: traffic. We've all been there, stuck in a sea of brake lights, our blood pressure rising faster than the temperature gauge on a summer day. And then it happens. Some jerk cuts you off, leaving you fuming and ready to unleash a symphony of car horn fury. But before you channel your inner road warrior, consider this. That jerk who cut you off might be rushing to the hospital to see a loved one, late for a job interview, or simply having a worse day than you. By choosing empathy over anger, we can break the cycle of road rage, and maybe even avoid an accident, or a very awkward confrontation at the next stoplight. Take a deep breath, remember that everyone makes mistakes, and maybe even crack a smile. You might be surprised at how quickly your anger dissipates when you choose compassion over confrontation. Finally, let's venture into the treacherous terrain of customer service. Whether you're a seasoned barista, a retail warrior, or just someone who occasionally interacts with other human beings, you've likely encountered your fair share of grumpy customers. These are the folks who seem determined to suck the joy out of your day with their complaints, demands, and general air of discontent. Now, I know it's tempting to meet their grumpiness with a healthy dose of your own. But before you unleash your inner sass monster, let's try a little empathy experiment. Imagine, if you will, that you're the cranky customer. Maybe you're exhausted from a long day, stressed about a looming deadline, or just really craving a decent cup of coffee. And that maybe, just maybe, a little kindness could go a long way in brightening both of your days. Alright, lovebirds, let's talk about relationships. And no, I'm not talking about the kind where you stage a flash mob to propose with a giant pizza. I'm talking about the real deal, the nitty-gritty, the "oh my god, you left your dirty socks on the floor again" kind of love. Because let's face it, even the most blissful relationships come with their fair share of, shall we say, opportunities for growth. That's where empathy swoops in, like a relationship superhero, cape billowing in the wind, or maybe just a dish towel flung over its shoulder. Empathy, my friends, is the bridge that spans the chasm of misunderstanding. It allows us to climb out of our own heads, with their carefully curated playlists of grievances, and venture into the uncharted territory of our partner's perspective. When we make an effort to understand where our partners are coming from, their fears, insecurities, and yes, even their irrational pet peeves, we open the door to deeper, more meaningful connections. Because ultimately, empathy is about more than just acknowledging someone else's feelings, it's about validating them. It's about saying, "I see you, I hear you, and I understand where you're coming from, even if I don't agree with you." So the next time you find yourself locking horns with your significant other over something seemingly insignificant, remember the power of empathy. Now, for those of you who haven't been sucked into the vortex of relationship self-help books, congratulations, your shelves are probably far less dusty. You might be wondering, what in the world is a love language? Well, it's basically just a fancy way of saying how you express and receive love. Some people show love through gifts, others through acts of service, and some, you guessed it, through empathy. Empathy, as a love language, is all about truly understanding and responding to your partner's emotional needs. It's about being present with them, listening without judgment, and offering support and validation, even when it's hard. When you speak your partner's empathy love language, you create a safe and secure space for them to be vulnerable and authentic. So, whether you're navigating the choppy waters of a new relationship or sailing the high seas of long-term commitment, remember the power of empathy. It's the secret ingredient that can transform your relationship from a roommate situation with benefits to a true partnership built on love, understanding, and a shared appreciation for the finer things in life, like clean dishes and strategically placed socks. Now go forth and empathize, my friends, and remember, even small acts of understanding can make a world of difference in your relationships. Alright, let's talk shop, folks. And no, I'm not referring to my questionable online shopping habits. I'm talking about the workplace. That glorious arena where ambition, caffeine, and passive-aggressive emails collide. Now, you might think that empathy is best left at home, along with your comfy slippers and your I Love Cats coffee mug. But trust me, bringing a little empathy to work is like bringing a secret weapon to a Nerf gunfight. Think about it. The ability to understand and respond to your colleagues' emotions is like having a superpower in the often cutthroat world of professional life. Remember those group projects back in school, the ones where you ended up doing all the work while your teammates contributed by showing up late and offering unhelpful suggestions? Yeah, those were fun. But what if I told you that teamwork doesn't have to be a nightmare fueled by caffeine and resentment? Enter empathy, the superhero of collaboration. When you approach teamwork with empathy, you transform the experience from a dreaded obligation to an opportunity for growth and, dare I say, even enjoyment. It starts with understanding that your teammates are human beings with their own strengths, weaknesses, and yes, even the occasional bad day. By offering a little empathy, we can create a more supportive and understanding team dynamic, one where everyone feels heard, respected, and motivated to do their best work. Now, for those of you who find yourselves in positions of leadership, congratulations. You've reached the pinnacle of corporate aspiration, or at least climbed a few rungs on the ladder. But don't let the power go to your head, because true leadership isn't about barking orders from your ergonomically designed office chair. It's about inspiring, motivating, and yes, even empathizing with your team. Think of the best bosses you've ever had, the ones who challenged you, supported you, and maybe even cracked a joke or two along the way. Chances are they were also pretty darn good at the empathy thing. Leading with empathy means creating a work environment where people feel valued, respected, and empowered to do their best work. Now, for those of you who are driven by data and bottom lines, and let's be honest, who isn't in today's competitive job market? Here's the good news. Empathy isn't just good for morale, it's good for business. Studies have shown that companies with empathetic leaders and a culture of compassion tend to have higher employee engagement, lower turnover rates, and yes, even increased profits. When people feel valued and respected, they're more likely to be engaged in their work, go the extra mile, and stick around for the long haul. Plus, a little empathy can go a long way in fostering trust and collaboration, which leads to increased innovation, creativity, and overall business success. You might be surprised at how far a little compassion can go, both for your career and your company's bottom line. Empathy, your brain's best friend. Alright, let's talk about mental health, folks. And no, I'm not talking about that time I tried to learn Mandarin using only fortune cookie messages. I'm talking about the real deal, our emotional well-being, that delicate balance of thoughts, feelings, and the occasional existential crisis. Now, you might think that empathy is just a nice-to-have quality, like knowing how to bake a souffle or speak fluent Klingon. But trust me, empathy is more than just a personality quirk. It's like a superpower for your mental health. It's the secret ingredient that can help us navigate the ups and downs of life with greater resilience, compassion, and even a touch of humor. Because let's face it, sometimes you just gotta laugh at the absurdity of it all. Think about it. When we cultivate empathy, we're essentially training our brains to be more attuned to the emotions of others and ourselves. This heightened emotional intelligence allows us to respond to challenging situations with greater understanding, compassion, and dare I say, even a smidge of grace, even when faced with a particularly frustrating traffic jam or a burnt batch of cookies. Stress less, empathize more. A winning formula. Let's face it, folks, the world's a stressful place. We're bombarded with news alerts, deadlines, and social media updates that would make even the most zen yogi reach for a stiff drink. But what if I told you there was a secret weapon in the fight against stress? A superpower so potent it could rival even the most meticulously crafted to-do list. That's right, I'm talking about empathy. Now I know what you're thinking. Walter, how can thinking about other people's problems possibly help me with my own stress levels? Well, my friends, it's all about perspective. When we focus solely on our own problems, they tend to loom large, like that giant inflatable rat used at labor protests. Seriously, those things are terrifying. But when we shift our attention to the experiences of others, our own worries can start to feel a little less overwhelming. Think about it. Your coworker who's always late for meetings might be dealing with a sick child at home. That driver who cut you off might be rushing to the hospital to see a loved one. Suddenly, your missed deadline or traffic jam doesn't seem quite so catastrophic. From self-care to shared care, empathy's ripple effect. Now I'm all for self-care, folks. Bubble baths, face masks, those adult coloring books with the intricate mandala designs. I'm here for it all. But what if I told you there was a way to level up our self-care game, to transform it from a solo mission to a collective endeavor? That's right, I'm talking about the transformative power of empathy. See, empathy isn't just about understanding and validating the emotions of others, it's about recognizing our shared humanity. It's about acknowledging that we're all in this crazy, messy, beautiful thing called life together. When we approach the world with empathy, we create a ripple effect of compassion that extends far beyond ourselves. It's like tossing a pebble into a pond and watching the rings expand outward, touching everything in their path. By practicing empathy, we not only improve our own well-being, but also contribute to a kinder, more compassionate world. Building an empathy toolkit. Practical tips for a kinder, more compassionate you. So, how do we cultivate this empathy thing? Well, it's like building a muscle, folks. It takes practice, patience, and the occasional awkward stumble. But trust me, the rewards are well worth the effort. Listen up. Put down your phone and truly listen to what others are saying. Walk in their shoes. Try to see the world from their perspective. Practice makes progress. Empathy is a skill that requires practice. Be kind to yourself. Empathy starts at home. Remember, empathy is a journey, not a destination. The world needs more empathy, folks. Let's make it happen. The power of human connection. So there you have it, folks. Empathy. It's not just for therapists and daytime talk show hosts anymore. It's a superpower we can all tap into, a force that can transform our lives and the world around us. Think about it. What if, instead of approaching every interaction like a negotiation or a battle to be won, we led with understanding and compassion? What if we took the time to truly listen to each other, to see the world through each other's eyes, to recognize our shared humanity? Imagine a world where road rage is replaced with courteous waves, where customer service interactions become opportunities for genuine connection, where political debates are fueled by respectful dialogue rather than ad hominem attacks. Okay, maybe that's a bit too utopian, even for me, but even small acts of empathy can have a ripple effect, creating a more compassionate and understanding world, one interaction at a time. Go forth and empathize, spread the empathy gospel, see the world through the eyes of others, listen with your heart, offer a helping hand, a kind word, connect with the world around you. Empathy is a journey. Choose compassion over judgment. Empathy connects us. We're all in this together. Be kind to each other and yourselves. Practice empathy in your daily life. Make a difference today.